and we wait for inviting for this event. It's a great pleasure to be here with you all. Can you all hear me properly?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So without any ado, Hightech Genesis is a software engineering consulting company, and myself and my director, Heidi, we are here to introduce about our company and about the roles we are hiring these days. Heidi, please,
yes,
it's your chance to talk about our company.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I was checking on my microphone here. So, good to be with all of you today. This is basically to tell us, first of all, how excited we are always to get the opportunity to meet new people, new professionals that we may be able to work with, right? And our company, Hightech Genesis, is an engineering company that has been in the market for over 10 years. It started with only, I believe, 2, maybe 3 people in the company. And over time, we have grown to the point right now that we are internally about 20 employees plus another 60 to 65 employees that are working with our clients right now. And that's our bread and butter, to bring new professionals to work with our clients. Our clients are in the telecom/networking space. So we usually hire engineers, whether computer science, electrical engineering, or other, anywhere in between as well, to work with our clients in different capacities. So what we claim to be different, and we want to differentiate from the market and other companies, is that we are very, of course, high-tech oriented. Our name say it all. So we know right from the get-go, we understand the processes, we understand the technology, the cycles, the software development cycles. We know what it entitles a developer to do a job. And we have, our team has right now 8 internal technical recruiters that are working on any given time with our clients, and encompass with our sales team to understand the client requirements and to find those qualified resources for our clients. Again, Ranjit and I work together along with the team of recruiters. You can see in this table some of the recruiters are there, so all of them. And again, we work as a team. The Hightech Genesis team is big because it's not only composed on the recruiting part, right? We know that the recruiting also needs to be supported by the operations, by what happened after we recruit and find a person, all the interaction with the clients. So we have our account managers doing that and bringing new opportunities for us, of course. So we feed each other with what we do. And finally, on the operation side or HR side or administration side, to be sure that our candidates or the new people that we hire are well taken care of. So, yeah.
I'll just brief about the roles which we are talking. So thank you, Heidi, for that introduction. So as Heidi mentioned, we are a highly technical company, and most of the roles which we are hiring these days is also highly technical. At any given time, we have around 40 to 60 roles that we are working. And at present, I'm presenting around 25 roles which we are immediately hiring. And these situations can change every 2 weeks. So I will highly recommend all of you to go to our website, that's hightechgenesis.com, and check all these roles which we are hiring and check the mandatory requirements and how you are meeting those mandatory requirements. Check the line by line, the word by word, and then we will be there to talk to you in detail and see if that's a perfect match. Heidi, you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, so as you can see, we have a diversity of roles for different clients. Our let's say bread and butter type of work is to find people that we High Tech Genesis hire as employees of High Tech Genesis, but you have the opportunity to work on site with our clients. There are other instances where we also hire or find, sorry, not, we don't hire, we find candidates qualified for our clients' needs, and they hire them full time. So it's basically what we call it is a referral model. So we have both right now. But the more we work in this industry, we realize that our main strength is that we are able to support our clients more in terms of not giving them the burden of hiring people, right? We are responsible for hiring them. And that also gives the opportunity to a new employee to work first of all, with cutting edge technology with our clients, but also once a project finished with one client, we can continue the relationship. We can also move you on to different projects with even different clients. So the opportunity to start with us is just the beginning. It's just the initial opportunity to, to work with one of these precious clients. And then from there, the war is yours. You get the new skills, you get the experience, you prepare, you learn about working with different teams, sometimes multidisciplinary teams, so on and so forth. You get that experience, and you bring that experience with you to then go to maybe another project or another company where you basically are you gain the experience that now is passed on to new clients. Now, because of this diversity of roles right now, and as you can see in the market, we have a big responsibility of representing you. We represent you. We do our diligence. We have our internal process to evaluate you in terms of understanding, first of all, what are your strengths, what you are looking for, not only right now, but what are you looking for in the long term? So, we understand the path, your career path. So with that in mind, we can help you and guide you to first tell you what roles might be suitable for you, and from there prepare you, present you, interview you. We have a process, a very diligent process. We usually have 2 interviews with any given candidate that we're presenting to our clients. Why? Because we really want to have we are really focused on presenting quality. And in order to do that, we want to be sure that we have the 2 thumbs up to present candidates to our clients. And now having a team of 8 recruiters, the recruiters are at any given time having between, I would say, depends of the demand, but it may be between 2 to 5 or even 10 roles at any given time to work on. So it is very dynamic. We have a team that evaluates, the recruiters are the first touch with the candidates. And from there, it goes to engineers even interviewing, and the account managers later on preparing you to meet the client. Now, in that preparation, it's not only important, and I want to talk here a little bit about the first contact with you usually is after a conversation, or if not the conversation, is a resume. So I wanted to put an emphasis on resume preparation. Is very, very important, right? That's the first presentation of you, is and it's the first impression of you. So we always encourage that to present resumes that are in a format. First of all, if we talk about the format, in a format that is clear, it's not confusing, it's not, for example, in Canada, we don't have resumes where people put their pictures or the photos, right? Or date of birth or things like that. Those are things that are considered private and personal, and those are not disclosed in a resume. But the areas that we focus usually in a resume is, first of all, to understand I would say in a summary or in the first page, where are you coming from? Years of experience. You have certain number of years of experience in this field. What is your focus? I want to be focused on working on this area. My key strengths or my key skills are this or that. So a snapshot of what you are, just to start with, right? And then we go through the resume, and what we like to see there, of course, is well-defined role. Not only what you have done, like ideally a bullet point would be a very clear way of showing what you have done in terms of tasks and responsibilities, but also to understand maybe you were working on a project, you were working on a product, you were working with a team, whether it's local, remote, both, all of those things that it tells me more about what was your involvement, not only on a specific task. Also understanding about the company, right? I work for a company, it's a multinational company, has, et cetera, et cetera. So to provide enough details that gives me the whole picture of what you have been doing. And of course, we're talking about tech, high tech, so IT technology. We need to know what technology, what tools, what languages, what processes, what methodologies, training, courses, and of course, everything about your education as well. So those are the main sections that, and it's probably very standard. I'm just saying it because sometimes it's hard to read a resume, and we are in an industry that we need everything right now, as soon as possible, right? There's no time to, spend, there's no enough time, I would say, to sometimes to prepare for things. So it helps us initially, first of all, to have a good impression with your resume. Always check on any grammar, spelling. That's very important. It tells about you, right? It tells about how you care about the way that you present. Well, now we have the resume. Once we have the resume, we go through the resume, we screen the resume, meaning that we go through everything. We don't read from A to Z, but we want to identify in your resume the key areas of expertise, the years of experience you have, what periods you work in different companies, if there was any break in between. For the most part, you can try to explain it. If you take a sabbatical year, or you travel overseas, whatever the case may be. So be very clear on that. And okay, we have it. We want to talk to you now. We want to interview you. It's not pointed here, but I wanted to mention quickly about the interview, right? Be prepared for the interview. Be sure that you have your resume updated. And when I say be prepared for the interview, also be prepared to ask questions. That's very important. We employers, we love people that is curious, people that is showing the interest and the engagement in the conversation within the interview. to ask questions. It's not, this is a two-way communication, right? You are going to be asked questions and be also provide details. When you said, I have experience in this technology, I have worked on a particular project where I use the technology, I was working with a team, I was using this, I was doing a development for this project, my deadlines, etc., etc. So don't be afraid of providing those details beyond even what it says in the resume, right? The resume can hold only so much. You cannot put all of the little details, but we always look for people that are, first of all, well prepared to how can I say that? Well, to explain the experience in a way that also is easy to digest. We are always against the time. We have limited time to interview you. Take advantage as much as possible of that initial contact with a potential employer. We look for creativity. We look for people thinking out of the box. We look for ways of doing things, how you manage the challenges, how you overcome those challenges or resolve problems, how you work in a team environment, how you communicate with each other. What do you think it is the areas of expertise that you bring to the table, and why you think that those you are, if when you said, for example, I'm very experienced on technology A, tell me why. What is it that it makes you very experienced? In general, the more information you provide us, the better we can take that information and put it into a nice presentation that goes to the client. Networking. Ranjit, do you want to talk about networking? You are the expert.
Thank you so much. So I understand you all are new to this country or on transition and coming to this country. So again, myself and Heidi, we also immigrants from other countries, not that too far. So I also went through the same situations which you are currently in. And I will say what brought me to this position is the networking. So I did some volunteering at the beginning and then started connecting with people. So don't miss any opportunities to connect with your future employers. You don't know who is going to be your future employer, and that's why you have to constantly do some research about opportunities. Again, when it comes to high-tech Genesis, as Heidi mentioned, we are a team of 20 people. Out of that, there are 8 recruiters. So please connect with at least 3 recruiters at any given time. And the best way to connect is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a huge source of networking, virtual networking, and that is a different our discussion on LinkedIn. Maybe that we can do it at a later time. Maybe Vivek or Mark can brief about how to approach to hiring managers and recruiters through LinkedIn. How you can present yourself, how you can stand out and become the best candidate so that you will get a call. So the opportunity to interact with any recruiter, hiring manager should not be missing. There are many events which is happening in the city, so that can be an opportunity to connect with a person and then use the LinkedIn to engage them in the future. So, I'm a big fan of networking. I've been there for many opportunities in the city. You can connect with me, you can connect with Heidi, you can connect with any of our recruiters. And then, when we share opportunities through online, through LinkedIn, especially, you can respond back to us, or you can go to our website and apply directly. Same thing with career fairs. Recently, we were there part of a career fair with one of the non-profits in the city. We are now part of this World Skills. We are there in multiple career fairs. So when there is this type of events happening, make sure that you are there. You're taking the opportunity to talk to those people. So one of the events I attended 2 months back, which was a virtual career fair, and myself and one of my co-workers, we were dedicated 2 hours to attend this career fair. And one sad thing is, the candidate didn't took that opportunity to talk with us. So it should not be that a one way. When somebody is attending a conference or career fair, and then we are there to discuss with the candidates, take the advantage of that. Try make sure that you are speaking. At least you're communicating with those recruiters and taking advantage of connecting with them to understand the role or the types of jobs which we are hiring and how you are a good fit for that. So very important to connect with our recruiters through LinkedIn, through opportunities which is coming at any real-time opportunities in the city. If you are in Ottawa, if you're not in Ottawa, try to find something which is happening in your city, especially in the tech sector. Here in Ottawa, we have Tech Tuesdays, which is every month. There is cybersecurity meetups, which is happening. If you go to meetup, there is again various events which specifically for DevOps. There is a DevOps community and there is a DevOps event. If there you are into tech support or into Linux, there is Linux related networking event. So identify your niche area and then find out which type of networking events is happening there, and then you can reach out to the people, like hiring people there. Time for question and answers.
Perfect. Thank you very much, both of you, for this amazing presentations. You have included so many great best practices and tips that I'm sure will absolutely help our clients. So thank you very much. And just a reminder, please, you can go ahead and post your questions in the chat. We are compiling them, and I'm going to share my screen shortly, so that way our colleagues could address them. Ranjit, you mentioned you wanted to read the questions. I'm happy to do that as well. If you want. All right, so
Yes,
I'll go.
sure.
All right, so I'll share the screen and let me know if you can see them.
So Heidi, you can also read that. You can see that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Okay. I can start with the first question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yes, the typical recruitment process with our company. So we work with probably every company works with a system, right, to track the activity, the database, the candidates in the database. So we start by, even before recruiting, right? We have requirements because we have clients that have some needs, and they're looking for a team, they're looking for someone to be part of a project. So we start with understanding what is their need. And for that, our sales team is heavily involved in the interaction with the clients, either new clients, prospects, or current clients. So once the need is established and we understand clearly what we're looking for, we have a document created where it describes all the main areas that a recruiter needs to know before going and searching for that person. And it's basically understanding what are the mandatory requirements, the technical skills that we are looking for. What other additional skills are considered assets? We also like to know what type of responsibilities this person will be taking in any given job. Of course, understanding if this is a work that is going to be done on site, it is hybrid, it is remote. We also understand about, of course, what is the salary that is expected to be paid for this role. So once we have that information, the recruiter start looking for this type of profiles. We post it, so we have a system where this job is open, is created in the system, is posted, so it's shared with many other websites or job sites where we are spreading the word. We are looking for this type of profile. So we have people that apply, but also our recruiters are heavily involved in hunting. meaning looking for people even that is out there that might be hidden and that might have the skills that we need. So it happens all the time in both ways, on what we call it the hunting and the fishing. Now, once we have prospects, our recruiters have the initial discussion with the candidate, provided the candidate is interested. The initial interview assess of course, the level of interest, or salary expectations, locations, and any additional information we need to get to that is important for our client to know, on top of being sure that our candidate meets the requirements. Once that is completed and the candidate is still a viable candidate for the role, we send it to a second interview. Second interview is done by a team of people. There are some very technical people within that team as well. Depends on the level of or what we need to check, but we always complete these two interviews. Once second interview is completed and the candidate passes the interviews, is submitted to the client. Now, the process with the client, it can be a little bit longer, depends on the client, but we educate the clients to understand that the market is live, the market moves fast, and we want to respond to candidates in a period of time that it's, I don't know, it could be 1 or 2 weeks within the process, but we understand that sometimes the process is longer. The clients, in some cases, they do interview in addition to our interviews, because they wanted the internal team to get to know more the candidate. And once they make a decision if they want to hire, if we are going to hire this person through High-Tech Genesis, we do all the offer is presented, and if the offer is accepted, the onboarding process and assignment of all the resources that the person will be having, like usually a computer and in some cases other additional tools. And once a person is hired, our job is done. However, after that, we also have a manager, a field engineer, that is taking care of the follow-ups with the people that have been already hired. And he does it periodically to be sure that any needs or any questions or even concerns are addressed timely, and to keep everybody happy. And that's the process, basically.
So Heidi, we have all the questions listed here.
Yes. So we can, yeah, maybe I'm not sure we would be able to answer everything. Yes, we do have an ATS. Like I mentioned before, it's a database. Right now, we have over 40,000 candidates in our database. How to apply? We have a website. You just apply directly from the website. Our postings are also shared in LinkedIn and in many other websites, such as Indeed. I believe the Monster as well, but there are, I don't know, probably another hundreds of other sites where you can definitely find us. So you go to Google and look for High-Tech Genesis careers, you definitely will find us there. We are hiring every month of the year, and like Brigitte said before, we have anywhere between 40 to 60 or even more requirements at any given time.
Can I add something to the ATS? So it's always good to have your database, or with our database, your resumes in our database, because as Heidi mentioned, sometimes, before even posting, you maybe start looking internally. So if you don't see a matching role, which is listed here, you can send your resume to either of us, and then we can add that as a prospect candidate for upcoming positions. And then we can reach out to you if there is a match.
Cover letters. Well, cover letters, I would say that is a little bit tricky to me. This is my personal opinion. You know, people put a lot of effort on the cover letter to express their level of interest and, you know, and the eagerness to be reached out to for a potential interview. And I think it varies in terms of how important it is. But it definitely is an added value because it give us it tell us more about you. It tell us that, you know, you're not only bothered with preparing a good resume, but you also want to express how interested you are in a role, and then you highlight the you know, what is your goal, what you want to do, what is the main skill. So as long as I would say a cover letter should be short and concise, maybe 3 paragraphs. Important. The first one, just quickly introducing yourself and the years of experience. Secondly, on the areas of expertise that you are interested or in a particular role and why you think that you could be a good fit. And third, just basically thanking for the opportunity to potentially meet with us.
Thank you so much for the answer.
Okay.
Yeah. And Heidi, if it's easier for you, I can read the questions to you and then you can answer them.
Okay, yes.
All right, perfect. So the next question is, what are some of the popular roles at your company for which you usually need more talent?
We focus a lot on software development, so anywhere under the sun that is software development. However, we have some key areas. So embedded developers is a very strong one, and it's not an easy one. So we always struggle with that. But it comes because of the type of products that our clients are working on. It involves embedded development. So when I said embedded, it could be a C or C++ type of software development. Back-end and front-end development as well, very popular, and have other clients that work heavily on that. And so I'm talking about, you know, using languages such as C Sharp. Not much of .NET. I haven't heard much of .NET for a while, so I'm not sure if that technology is kind of maybe not popular or maybe dying now, with replaced by other new languages and flavors of languages. So again, software developers, whether junior or intermediate or a senior level, that actually is it depends. So when I say senior, what it means senior to me, that it or to the client or yourself, it might be different. So we always sure to explain the senior, what it means, how many years of experience you have, and why you consider yourself senior. Someone can be in a role for 10 years and might not be a senior in a specific particular skill, right? It depends.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much for that answer. And in your opinion, what would be some best practices or tips for newcomers who are applying for their first job in Canada?
So here, I think that I already addressed in terms of preparation of a good resume, prepare for the interviews. That is very, very important. Is the first impression, right? And the first impression, it stays forever, believe me. So we recruiters, we remember, and it's very important to prepare, be prepared, and to actively participate in an interview, just not responding to questions. Ask questions yourself, show the interest, show passion for what you want to do too. Very important. Communication skill, how you communicate your experience. You know, we understand that this is a country of immigrants. Canada is a very welcoming country in terms of people having different accents. That's not a problem at all, right? That's actually, it gives more, how can I put it? It's much more interesting when you have such a diversity of people, right? From everywhere. And employers love that too.
Amazing. Perfect. Thank you so much for the answer. And those tips are super valuable that we just can't emphasize them enough, right? And every reminder is valuable. So thank you very much for the answer. And yeah, so is your company open to interviewing newcomers before they land in Canada?
Okay, this can be a challenge at times. So what happened usually is that we work with clients that, the need is right now. They need someone for yesterday or last week. So when we enter in a process where someone is not in Canada and might not be available yet to come to Canada, um, I wouldn't say no, because in any case, those are potential people that we can hire in the future. But as we are all living always in the today and what we need now, and you know we would like to be more proactive in that respect. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but it all depends of what is the timing for this person to come to Canada, because we can definitely make a plan. We can definitely talk to someone that is already in the plans of coming to Canada, getting the maybe the permanent residence within the next 3 months. We can set up those calls later on. So it is possible, but it all depends also on the level of urgency that when we are working with requirements.
Perfect. Thank you very much for this clear and succinct answer. And the next question, you did touch on it 2 questions ago, remember, but I'll still ask it just in case you wanted to summarize it. So what would be some top coding languages that are in demand right now that you would advise software developers or people like you to pick up?
Mm-hmm. Well, still we have heavily requirements on using Java. I would say C and C++ languages are, those are languages that are being in the market for a long, long time. But those are more specific to certain or particular type of development, which is more on the embedded side, or, so it is more complex. So it will be probably not something that someone would take in a 6-month course. This is more, requires more time to learn these skills. But
I can add Python to that.
Python is actually one of the that we are actually is quite a demand right now. In Python, focusing on different aspects of the development. So Python is a language that can be used similar as a Java or a C++, for example. So to develop applications, but it's also powerful enough to do some embedded development like C++. So that's another language that is pretty much in demand right now. It has surprised me how much in demand it is, and I have seen that increase, I don't know, over the past year, quite a lot.
Wow. Okay. Ranjit, you wanted to add something? Sorry.
Yeah, I want to add there's new technology called Blazor. So maybe Heidi, you can brief more about Blazor. If you want to study something, if you're already into that Microsoft product, then this is a Microsoft product which you can.
Yeah. So to be honest, I don't know much about Blazor myself. I come from the old school. I learned the hardcore languages like assembly and very old. So I wouldn't even mention them here because it will make me look too old. No, what I'm saying is that it's C, C++, Java for sure, and then we have other, like C#. It's another one that is, but some languages are more used for testing purposes I'm talking about within the software development cycle. There are specific languages focusing more on the testing side, where the engineers are testing the language, testing the code, testing the products, things like that. Blazer, I guess that Ranjit, you know something about Blazer as well, but
So it's a new technology which came into the market 4 or 5 years back. Before that, it was a Razer. It is a Microsoft product. Mostly
right.
people who worked on .NET and C Sharp. That's the type of people. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. And again, it's not that huge in demand, but the industry says that there's going to be a change, and then there'll be more demand coming up for the Blazor one.
Okay.
So we do have few clients who is looking for Blazor technology. So we couldn't find any in the resumes because it just came into the market 5 years back, 4 or 5 years back. Yeah, 2018. But before that, it was a Razer. So some of you maybe already worked on that Razer, R-A-Z-O-R. If not, people who are good in .NET and C Sharp, maybe they can go and learn this technology. It's good to have these latest technologies on your resume so that the employers can feel confident. Okay, this person is not old school. He or she is regularly updating the skill sets, working on learning some new technologies frequently. So that shows that how good you are in updating your skill sets.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I've never heard actually of Blazor too, and it's free and open source, which is amazing. But Python, yeah, Heidi, the information. I should pick up Python, and you never know when it's going to be useful. So it's really so powerful. And I keep hearing like it's using data analysis, it's using so many things. This is very a really dexterous tool. That's amazing. Yeah, thank you very much for that answer. And then you did talk about networking, and would you have any advice or best practices that you could give newcomers to be successful in their networking efforts?
I think I already discussed about that. So
Yeah.
the best thing is make sure at least you are attending 2 events in a month so that you meet the same person again and again. I mean, the hiring managers or complete leaders, so that you're becoming familiar with them, and don't ask for jobs at the first meeting itself. First, you are there to build the relationship, and then you can ask for advice, like how was your experience getting into the first employment? What brought you to this current job? Okay, all these type of questions. So you are engaging that person, building a relationship. Then you can ask for, hey, by the way, I'm looking for these reports, and if you come across anything, please, give me a reference, and then follow up with those people. And that's why I mentioned LinkedIn. So attend those events which is in person in the city. If you're not in Ottawa, find out something which is happening in person in your city, and then try to be there to engage them in person, because people may forget you after some time, right? So a follow-up on virtually is good, so that you stay on top of them, and then they will start helping you. So also find out mentors from these nonprofits like World Skills, and there are other settlement organizations. So that can also be an additional source to help you finding your dream jobs. And then come back to us, and that's why I mentioned that High Tech Genesis, we have many recruiters working in our team. Always be in touch with them, either with me or my colleagues, and then sometimes they may not be that active because we are constantly interviewing people every day, talking to people every day. So sometimes they may not be able to respond immediately on LinkedIn, but then have patience and wait for them to respond. So if you practice these things, like attending events and following up on LinkedIn, then I think that's the best practice as a newcomer. This is what I did. This is what I always share with other people. And maybe we can talk about networking at a different session in depth about it.
Yeah. So if I may add about the networking, because I think it's very important. It is not, if not one of the most important activities for you to find your new career or your next career challenge. Like Ranjit said, I'm an immigrant as well. I've been here for over 20 years. And when I came here initially, of course, I didn't know much about the country, how business are conducted, anything. One of the key things that I found throughout the years as well, so this hasn't changed, don't be afraid to be involved in some volunteering type of jobs, because you meet people. you never know when you meet the person that will be maybe your manager. And that happened to me. I was volunteering I was participated in different organizations, just going there and talk to engineers and talk about technology, create some ideas, brainstorming. And that was a way that I was engaged in a project with Algonquin College here, where they asked me to be part of a committee to talk about the immigrants and language, English language, and so on and so forth. Well, I met the person that hired me later, and that was my first job in Canada.
Wow.
So you never know.
That's so true. That's such valuable advice. Yeah. And I'm telling you, like, I'm really liking the answers to the point that it's so excellent that it's turning into a crash course on how to navigate the Canadian job market. So thank you very much. You're helping us with our job. Thank you. And I am being mindful of time, so we do have only a few minutes, and it's up to you to stop whatever you have to. And so next question, you did briefly touch on this, and I would really love to hear your insights about it. So would having a break or gap really hurt the chances of a qualified candidate?
You know, sometimes things happen. I mean, there's not something that you have control on them, and you may have a gap on work, whether because you move to a different country, and that's a huge gap, right? As long as you are able to explain, the situation, and it's just to be transparent. I mean, I guess that more than anything, to be transparent when you are talking about what happened there. And there is no right or wrong. Nobody will be judging you because maybe you took 1 or 2 years off, you were parenting, you had a baby. That's part of life, right? So I think that it's just, don't hide it, because if you hide it, then it raises questions. Why? Right? Be upfront.
All right, thank you very much for that answer. We actually do get that question sometimes from our clients who've had a gap, or due to the COVID pandemic, they've lost their job, or they were trying to find employment, but it was not possible. And yeah, and the next question is, what would be the most important information that you want to see in a candidate's resume?
What is the most important information?
Did we cover that already?
I believe
I
so.
think that when
did touch on
we mention, and on all the sections that are the most important areas that we are always looking for.
Yeah, and I believe you mentioned you want to see the years of experience they have and what specifically, and yeah, all right. And also the summary you mentioned, that you want to see a
Right.
summary. Yeah,
yes, that's very important, because that sets the tone, or makes the recruiters understand, okay, this person has been working in this sort of environment, or this product, or this type of company. So just to have a snapshot is, I think that I always start with the snapshot, or what is the person wanted, and then from there we start digging deeper into what they have done in each of the working experiences.
Perfect.
So just being very clear.
Yeah, maybe I can add on to that. So always, when I get a resume, I always look at the summary. And for me, the summary is 3 parts. It's the past, present, and future. It's like a synopsis, right? So if I'm reading where they're coming from in the past, what they're doing currently, what they want to do in the future. So that's the past, present, and future. And it should not be like a big biography. It's just maximum 3 or 4 lines. Okay, so if they are educated, it can cover their academic background, like in a bachelor's in computer science with ABC technology, currently working, or recently worked on so and so role. Okay, and now currently what are you looking for? So sometimes you may have dual job titles, like you may be good in one and another one. So don't send the same resume for all the jobs. Always try to read the job descriptions, see the mandatory requirements, make sure that related things is added into those experience, because we recruiters would like to see more on that role, because we are now, don't think that we have a lot of time to go and dream about or think about, oh, he may be having that skill. No, we don't have. We wanted to see everything on the document so that we can pick up the phone and verify that. Okay, so it's a selling document and you need to learn to sell it. And I will say WorldSkills is the best organization to teach you how to sell yourself and how to make good resumes, because I came to WorldSkills one day and I learned all these things through WorldSkills. So you guys are on good hands. Practice that and then come to us, and then we are there to support you the next stage of your job search.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that answer. I really love that framework, the past, present, and future. I may actually steal that from you, Ranjit, if you allow me to use it sometimes in my sessions. So I really appreciate that. All right.
So in that case, I can add one more thing. If you are writing
Please.
the past, present, and future there, and I'm very much attracted into that paragraph, then as Heidi mentioned, I'll go back to the bottom and see if the academics is what you mentioned there is there or not. Sometimes people don't mention the year. It's very important. Like, I graduated in 2010, and why are you hiding that? Like, sometimes people don't put the year of graduation. So you want me to assume that you graduated in 1990 or, in 2012. So it's better to add that so that now I can assume, okay, he graduated in 2012. That means he must be having 10 years of experience. So now I go to the employment history to check the months and the years to verify that, okay, in that 10 years, how many years he really worked on projects. Okay. So now it may be 7 years or 8 years, and I may be looking only 5 years. So these are some important things where my eyes quickly go and check in a resume. And if I'm not able to see these things very easily, pass it on to the next one. So I don't want you to miss that opportunity to get a call from a recruiter. So work on the resumes. Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect. Oh, that's very valuable information. Thank you very much, Ranjit. And I'm looking at the time. We only have a couple of minutes left. So I wanted to check with you in case you have a commitment at 2. We can wrap it up right here. Or if we can take a couple more questions, we can do that too. Up to you.
I'd really like to take the next question.
Okay.
I'll try to make it short, but yes, we do have a limit. I have limited time to keep in the
All right.
in the
Let's do
meeting,
that
but
question and wrap
yes,
up.
yeah. So the question is it very challenging for newcomers who don't have prior Canadian experience to secure their first job in
Canada,
Ottawa, in Canada, right? Yeah. So yes, there is a challenge. We know that, we have lived that. I would say the first message I would send to you is don't get discouraged. It's nothing against you, it's the system, but we can work around the system, definitely. So I will say that you also be patient, but be prepared to also take on opportunities that might not be exactly what you initially are looking for, but will get you the experience, the exposure to understand how things work here. And then you can go from there. I recall one of the things that happened to me is that I came here fresh with, I'm assistant engineer, but also I did an MBA just a year before I came here. And I said, I would find a job, anytime, it would be easier. No, well, that was not the case because I didn't have the Canadian experience. But be open to think out of the box. Maybe I can do some volunteering job where I will be meeting people in the field. I will get the exposure to. Also, something very important, I used to say, I'm looking for a permanent full-time position, not short contracts. No, that's not me. Well, you never know when those potential opportunities may lead into a permanent full-time position later on. So don't be afraid. Take those, because experience is experience, and you may gain it step by step, but surely. So, and at the end of the day, this is an immigrant country. Everybody here is an immigrant, or almost everybody. So it's not, the employers are open to hire you, knowing that you don't have the Canadian experience. they still will consider your experience that you bring from abroad. Sometimes, depending on the employers, you may have to start doing or taking on jobs that are a little bit less than what you expected. Maybe you have been a director and then you're coming here with the same expectations. Well, maybe you should start thinking on, finding roles where you can be maybe a lead, leading a project maybe, or a manager, but not at a director level. So be flexible.
Awesome. Perfect. That is really crucial advice. Thank you very much, Heidi, for sharing that. All right, so I'll stop sharing. And just to conclude, I would like to thank you so much for taking the time today to be with us. You have shared valuable tips and best practices, Ranjit and Heidi. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today in this meeting. We went just a couple of minutes over time, but we absolutely covered most of the questions. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Sorry, Marwan, before
Yes.
we wrap up, we have a question in the chat saying that if we can get the record of this session, where they can find it.
All right. Would it be okay to share the recording with our clients, Heidi and Ranjit? All right. In that case, our colleagues will upload it to our YouTube channel and should be there in about 4 weeks. But we do email the participants the link after it is uploaded. Thank you so much. All right, and we will see you in our next event on the 15th of December, and you can look at our SOPA calendars to register for the event. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Thanks for
Bye,
that.
everyone.